Good evening, Lions Nation, and welcome to this edition of Roar Time, the Columbus Lions Coaches Show with head coach, director of football operations, Jason Gibson, your amicable host, Rick Jacobson. And we are here coming off a bye week for the Lions early in the season. Coach Gibson, it is early in the season to have one of these, and last week we talked a little bit about your schedule. How did that go along? Did anything change along the way?
Yeah, it's kind of weird to have a bye week after 2 weeks. It's like you have training camp, play 2 weeks, and you're off a week. It's kind of weird because you want to have it so early, and we're already banged up, and it's coming off a bye week, which is not good because then you got a long season of games leaving all the way into July, and this is just May. So when you look at the length of the season, you're like, oh, wow. So I thought we practiced a little bit during the bye week, but we didn't look good. I was hoping that we'd go into practice and come out of the bye week and say, hey, okay, we got a little bit better. I thought we got worse. Really disappointed coming out of the bye week. But as we have practiced this week going forward, it's the best we've practiced yet. So hopefully, cross your fingers, it's going to make a difference. But the bye week helped. I think sometimes helps you rejuvenate. But, wow, it was a little early, you know?
Yeah, and some of this is necessitated by the heavy activity calendar at the Columbus Civic Center. Of course, you have two practice facilities, sometimes at the Civic Center when available, and Garrett Harrison Stadium in Phoenix City. And then, as I understand it, you've had some, not conflicts, but you've had to work around Central High School's spring football schedule.
Yeah, it's a crazy month. People don't understand from a scheduling standpoint, you got all these teams. We don't own these arenas, especially in arena football. So you got bye weeks because you have to be able to make the schedule work. You have all these different, cities giving you different schedules. You got to try to make it work. So that was the issue with the bye week. The issue with practice for this month is, wow, I mean, there's spring football. There's spring football at Glenwood. There's spring football at Central. There's practice times. One day it's at 5, one day it's at 7, one day it's at 5, and it's a lot. And you have so much going on in the Civic Center with AFLAC and graduations, and we just came off, Disney on Ice, and there's so much going on. This May's always the busiest month of the year.
Let me ask you whether you feel it's better for the team to develop a routine or better to go through this kind of period where you have to adjust.
I'll let you know after our record in a couple months. If we turn out really good, this was great for us. I love it. If we continue to lose, it's that fault.
Well, fans, this Saturday, May 4th, next home game for the Lions, 7 o'clock game is against the Orlando Predators, who we certainly owe one to, Coach.
Ooh, yeah, that's one I'm going to look back on into July and say we really needed that win. The whole kicker situation kind of hurt when we found the kicker couldn't kick on the day of the game at 12 o'clock. Thank you to the team that turned us in. I appreciate it. I know who you are. Don't worry. But, it's the rule. I get it. I'm just having fun with it. But not having a kicker that game hurts, Rick. You got to figure the kicker accounts for, on general, I averaged it out. A kicker accounts for between 10 and 15 points a game alone, and that's extra points, field goals, and deuces. But on average, he's a 10 to 15 point contributor in the games. We lost 42-40 with no kicker.
And not only was that loss harmful and the points you referred to, but positional football, kicking those deuces puts the other team starting at its 5, makes a pretty big difference.
You're right, it's huge. And it's a momentum swing, too. And, I could have kicked the ball at the end of half. I think at that game we had the ball at the end of the half, and we couldn't kick a field goal on the 10-yard line, which I would have kicked the field goal. Because if you kick the field goal, then you have the possibility of kicking a deuce. That's a 5-point swing. Mm-hmm. Now we just won 45-42. It's just so many ways points add up in arena football. But that game was an eye-opener for our guys, a lot of rookies. We had the excuse, we didn't know what we were doing. I have all these rookies. Well, I don't have that excuse anymore. So if something doesn't happen right this Saturday, I'm not sure. But two things from the last game that I took away when we played Orlando. We actually threw for 250 yards offensively, and I thought we were bad.
A lot of that was catch-up, admittedly, while falling behind. But, of course, that matters as much as anything.
We were up in the fourth quarter, 35-32 at one point. But we threw for a lot of yards, and we're not good. That's what's scary. And then as I look against what Orlando did against New York and Orlando did against Mass, their defense held both those teams under 200 yards passing. They held Massachusetts to 98 yards passing. Now, Massachusetts still won the game. So that goes back to what I tell my players. passing yards and all that stuff doesn't really matter. It never really affects the outcome of the game, but it still lets you know where your team's strengths and weaknesses are. And their strength is their DBs. They're good. But we had a great passing game against them, and we don't even know what we're doing yet. So I think I've cleaned some of that up from the last game, and we had 2 turnovers the last time we played them.
Speak to some of your roster changes this week.
Well, we traded Chip Reeves to New York for Brian Hicks. Brian Hicks is an IFL quarterback. He's played in the IFL, he's played some arena ball, he's the NEL. He's out of Houston, Texas. He's got some experience. I've been trying to talk to him before the season started. Things didn't work out. There was an opportunity to bring him in. I loved what we have with Luke Collis. I love what we have with Mitch Kidd. But my job is to bring in the best players I can find and let them compete and let them figure it out. So Brian's in this week trying to compete for a roster spot, so we picked him up. We also picked up DeAndre Brown.
Wide receiver, Southern Miss. If you guys don't remember, DeAndre was one of the top receivers in the nation, in college. Left early to go for the draft. He's 6'7", 240. He's a player, played at Southern Miss. Is he a quantity or a length player? In other words, a lot of passes, receptions per game, or long ones?
He's the guy that's he's just too big. He's to me, when he shakes the rust off, he's got a little rust on him. I'm not going to tell everybody what happened in practice, DeAndre, but when he shakes the rust off, he's Megatron. I mean, he's big boy that can run, that can catch, and he's violent. He's violent in how he runs. He's violent in how he plays the game. There's a difference. Some receivers are kind of big guys, and they're kind of finesse, or maybe they're not a great route runner, or they use their body. But DeAndre's a big body, and those 2 additions to the roster this week, hopefully, we're starting to fill some holes.
Now, you referred to Orlando's great defensive backfield. However, they were beaten by 33 points by Massachusetts this weekend and only scored 12 points. What do you take from that in the 2 straight losses?
I mean, well, they were on the road. It's hard to win on the road. Obviously, we lost, but then Jacksonville comes up here and beats our butt at home. I think Massachusetts, if I'm not mistaken, had 2 pick sixes for touchdowns. So they didn't, that game was like 30-something to 12 in the 4th. So Mass is struggling on offense too, like we are, but they'll fix it. They got Sean Brackett, and they'll be good. But Orlando's struggling at quarterback. But with that being said, I don't think Israel's playing this week. I saw some tweets that maybe he's out. I think he has something wrong with his elbow. And then on the transactions, Patrick McCain.
You mentioned just before we went on the air about McCain, a former Carolina Cobras quarterback with some pedigree.
Well, he played for Jacksonville a year ago, maybe 2 years ago, and then he sat out a year. I think went somewhere else, and then they traded him to Carolina this week. He refused to report. Carolina turned around and traded him to Orlando. So it's kind of weird. I don't know what's going on. Bottom line is Orlando doesn't really have a quarterback right now, and they need to get one. And so I've heard a couple rumors who they may get. Usually what teams do is they wait till tonight, Thursday night, to turn transaction in as late as possible, so you can't really prepare for what they have. So I'm expecting to open up transactions later tonight and see another name.
And there would be maybe 24 hours from now that you could make a change and still
Well, league rule is you have 48 hours before the game. Once you submit your roster at 7 p.m. on Thursday night, so we'll know tonight, then that's who you can play with, period. That's what happened with the kicker. They turned our kicker in for being league suspended on Saturday. I can't just make a phone call like, hey, do you want to play today? It doesn't work like that with the league. You got to go through all the proper transactions. And they're going to have somebody show up on that roster tonight. I guarantee it.
Now, we tape Wednesday morning, folks, so as you're watching this, he is correct when he says he turns his roster in tonight. But as we speak here right now, he does have a full day to make any adjustments. Well, as we prepare for our first commercial break, we talked briefly before the show that the 2 undefeated teams in the league, Carolina, hosts the New York Streets this weekend too. Where do you see that one going?
I don't know. I mean, New York's coming down, traveling to Carolina. Carolina's got a new quarterback. They signed Adrian McPherson, who's an old school, good quarterback out of Florida State. They had to sign somebody because McCullum's suspended. So who knows? Somebody's going to get a loss. That's all I care about. I need some help catching up until we figure out where we're at. But,
That's right. And the Lions, of course, are going to concentrate on getting that first W this Saturday. And that means, of course, that we'll be right back in the middle of everything.
Correct.
With just 3 games in on a 14-game schedule.
Correct.
Why don't we take a moment and have our first commercial break? We come back with Roar Time. Lots more Lions football to talk to you about, folks.
Every day, men and women from communities across this nation serve as Reserve Citizen Airmen.
I am proud to defend our nation.
Proud to be part of a team that helps make a difference.
I am proud to be part of something larger than me and to serve my country.
We celebrate those who have served and those who are proudly serving in the Air Force Reserve. Our mission is to fly, fight, and win in air, space, and cyberspace.
I am proud to be a member. I am proud to protect our...
Proud to serve in the U.S. Air Force Reserve.
Thanks, Dr. J. My back feels so much better. Now tell me where I can go for my headaches.
Really? You don't need to go anywhere else. That's what we do.
Well, what about my shoulder?
That's what we do.
Pinched nerve?
That's what we do.
Well, what about disc problems?
That's what we do.
Sciatica?
With almost 500,000 patient visits over the last 34 years, don't just take my word for it. Ask a friend.
Call Dr. J. Broadwin and Associates today.
Welcome to the Columbus campus of Georgia Military College. At GMC Columbus, students participate in community events, community service, and student activities. Join the excitement at GMC Columbus, a college for its community. Apply today at gmc.edu.
Hi, I'm Charles.
And I'm Tony with Midas here in Columbus, Georgia.
Did you know that 84,000 people in the Chattahoochee Valley go hungry every day? So we've partnered with Feeding the Valley Food Bank here in Columbus, Georgia. Every oil change feeds up to 5 people, or you can drop off food donations at either one of our locations. Together we can drive out hunger.
Come visit us at either one of our Columbus locations. We're located at 315 13th Street or 1631 Manchester Expressway.
Back with Roar Time. Columbus Lions Coaches Show. Head coach Jason Gibson here alongside Rick Jacobson. And Coach, once again, we want to remind everybody that this Saturday at 7 o'clock with gates opening at 6,
Right.
We've got the Orlando Predators coming in for First Responders Night. And what we have wanted to do is honor all the emergency and safety personnel, police, firemen, EMS,
Right.
and more, for the fabulous job they do all the time, but especially during the recent tornadoes.
Yeah, they did. Them guys worked. They worked their butts off, all of them. So yeah, we're excited to have them all. We've always done. There's always been different promotions throughout the history of arena football. You know, I think one was called Guns and Hose.
Yeah, Guns and Hoses.
Guns and Hoses.
Mm-hmm.
Guns and Roses. That's pretty good. Welcome to the jungle. See?
Yeah.
But that was a good one for the police and the firemen. But to be able to do a first responders night, to have everybody come, anybody that has ID that's a first responder can get into the game for free. I think it's a great opportunity for them to come to the game. Thank you so much for what you do. People have I mean, I think everybody respects their job. Everybody's thankful, especially with the tornadoes that came through. I got a chance to see firsthand some of it, you know, close to our house. So it's going to be a great night. I'm excited to get that going.
A lot of great legwork done by our managing partner, Josh Blair, because Josh, the owner of Chattahoochee Scuba, works very closely with sheriff's departments and other folks in this category, first responder, for diving training.
Absolutely.
And as a result, we've got a number of local mayors that are going to be participating in the opening coin toss. And we'll have guests from I know Sheriff Heath Taylor in Russell County. A list was sent of key personnel and the heads of these agencies that'll be with us. And really quite star-studded roster. But it's the mission that these folks do that makes it so special.
So yeah, it'll be great. Plus the Bud Light Party Zone opens up. A lot of tailgating going on there right between the ice rink and the Civic Center. Make sure you get down in that party zone. They got cornhole, tailgating, food, music. It's a good time.
And spectacular new Lions merchandise, we might add.
We've got some more new Lions merchandise too. We've got a bunch of more new hoodies and all kinds of stuff. So we're going to unveil that, and we got more merchandise next week that will kind of give us some more youth stuff. So it's exciting. But again, gates open at 6. It's going to be a good night.
A great night, and the Orlando Orlando Predators are the opponents. We talked last week a little week. You want to mention something about their history and what a fine franchise?
Yeah, I mean, it's a great franchise, one of the longest running franchises. I remember them as long as I've been playing football, since '92. Jay Gruden was their quarterback, head coach of the Washington Redskins. Pat O'Hara was down there for a while as a head coach, and Pat's the quarterback coach for the Tennessee Titans. It's got such a rich history. Kenny McIntyre, who led the AFL in interceptions throughout his career, is the general manager and one of the part owners, I think. Kenny does a great job with that team down there as far as just the atmosphere, the name. Just the Orlando Predators has that appeal to it. And he's working really hard down there. Right now they're struggling on the field as we are, but they got one more win than we do. So, going forward in this week, we got a work cut out for us.
Of course, we should mention one of your favorite players signed, and you've touted him in the past as a bit of a surprise that you knew about, but others didn't. Randy Hippard was a Predator star.
Yeah, he was. Randy Hippard. We found Randy at an open tryout out of Virginia Wise. I never even heard of that school.
He had a nice professional career.
He had a great career with Orlando, great career in Tampa, and Randy continues to be a premier quarterback in the league. So, but yeah, they've got a rich history. So I'm excited for them to be able to come in. Of course, they have the place they call the jungle. We call our place the jungle. It's a little bit of a contest between the two, but it's not really. I wanted to really say. It's why I stuttered. I wanted to say something else, but I'm not going to do it. So I'm excited for them to come in here, and they got a cool little sword that whoever wins gets to kind of keep the relic, if that's what you want to call it. So,
it's kind of interesting that we no longer have the Albany Panthers as a rival, our closest rival. But as we develop a good one with the Carolina Cobras, actually a little closer are the two Orlando teams.
Yeah, I like the Orlando. Florida. I like the Orlando-Jacksonville rival to be on. Really, my favorite's Jacksonville. That's a good rival. It's close. It was the original two that started, kind of like how Green Bay and Chicago,
right,
back in the old days in the NFL, those were some of the premier earlier franchises that continued to play against each other. I like that Columbus-Jacksonville rivalry. I don't really see Carolina or Mass or anybody else as a rival, to be honest with you, and that's just my opinion. It only matters to me. But I'd love to see that Orlando build that one up as well.
At some point, we'll have to come up with some bet between the mayors like franchises tend to do. And if that happens, most likely it will be the Carolina.
What we could do is we could bet if they win, we'll give them tickets to Springer.
Okay.
And if we win, they give me tickets to Disney World.
Well,
that's not a good deal?
Some folks might consider that a one-sided arrangement. But
yeah, you're right.
Springer is world class.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, see, I was looking at it that way.
State Theater of Georgia, absolutely.
Love the Springer, man. I went and saw a couple plays there this Christmas, past Christmas. Anyway, so.
And we do make a second trip to Orlando, by the way, in July. Looking forward to it, bringing the family to my first trip to Disney World in 40-plus years. Just lay a little age on myself while I'm at it, right?
40 years.
Wow.
I'm only 40.
Yeah. That was a couple of sports ago during the early years of a career in minor league baseball. But Coach Gibson is with us, of course, as always on Roar Time here. And let's talk a little bit about the early stages of the league season, how things are shaping up. You said there'll be balance in the league and parity, and we're kind of heading that direction.
Well, I tell you what I see. Quarterback play is huge right now. I think there's a couple teams, you take the quarterback away, and they're really average. And we were part of that last year. Mm-hmm. We jump out 8-3, and we were in first place, and things started to go downhill, and you lose Espinoza, and we just didn't finish strong. So, in the NAL, it's such a quarterback-driven league that you're one play away from having to go to this. And there's not a lot of depth at quarterback in our league right now, and there's not a lot of great numbers getting put up by a lot of quarterbacks either. Ours included. So that's where I see the league right now. There's a lot of really good athletes. There is some parity because, trust me, Mass is not a 1-2 football team. They've got players. They've got players. Mass has got the best players can buy. They got great players. So, yeah, all of them across the board. And everybody's continuing to upgrade. And as I watch the transactions every week, oh, wow, Orlando just added this guy. Oh, wow, Carolina just added this guy. And it just keeps raising the bar. every week, and that's what's great. You got to show up, you're going to lose.
There briefly was some talk about the possible availability of Mason Espinosa. Can you tell everybody how he's doing at Albany, New York in the Arena Football League?
I mean, I talked to him. He's doing pretty good, I guess. You know, I mean, he's backing up Tommy Grady, and you know, we'd love to have Mason, but obviously the AFL's at they can afford to lose a lot more money than we can. I mean, that's really the only difference. They're losing a ton of money, and we're losing bus fare money. So,
Yep.
So yeah, he's doing good. It's good for him. It's a good change of scenery. I mean, he's done all he can do in the NAL. I mean, he was the MVP of the league last year, statistically, Offensive Player of the Year. He's already won it. You know, what more can he really do here?
Take the Albany Empire and say the Columbus Destroyers, the expansion teams in the Arena Football League. Are they suffering through, or I shouldn't say suffering, but are they experiencing the same difficulties that our expansion teams may?
I mean, Columbus Destroyers lost 36-12 or 19, or they scored 19 points. An Arena Football team that's next level, way better players. It's the same players we had last year. All it is the NAL with an A in the front. And they only scored 19-something points, so they're struggling doing the same things we are. And how are they struggling? They're struggling with poor quarterback play. You know, and that's really the drive that you know, some of these teams face. If you have a premier top-of-the-line quarterback, and you can be in any game. And I think they're struggling through the same things right now.
You really don't find, I guess, in Arena Football the long, multi-year difficulties that expansion teams experience in some sports?
Say that again.
Would you say that and again, it's a guy with a hockey and baseball background talking to you, sometimes an expansion team will take years before they're competitive.
No, I mean, Carolina's a good example of that. You sit there and throw 20 veterans together, they can play. Now, do you want to deal with the headaches with the 20 veterans? And that's something you got to decide. I don't. But, you know, so no, I think in Arena Football, because of the talent level, because of so many guys come and go, it's so transit. It's so transit that it doesn't take as long at all. You know, plus, so, you know, Mass was an expansion team last year. Carolina was an expansion team. Both of them made it to the playoffs. Or New York's an expansion team, and they're 2-0. Or 3-0, sorry, 3-0. So I think it's a little easier in football.
Now, you spoke a little bit about the players during this bye-week period. As you come into the week 2, game week now, the routine a little bit back closer to normal?
Yeah, it's back to normal. We got after it a little bit this week, which was good. We needed it. Got outside in the heat, which is good. You know, I told the players, it's going to be hot. We practice at 5 o'clock in the heat on the turf. That's a good thing. You know, all these guys are aspiring to be back in the NFL. How are you going to go? What is it? Are you going to tell Coach Belichick the Patriots it's too hot, you're not practicing today? It's okay. Coach McVay, I don't want to practice. I know it's LA, I know it's hot, but I don't want to practice today.
You tend to have guys with the southern, southeastern, even West Coast background used to hot weather?
Yeah, most of them are. But when you practice outside on that heat, on that turf, then you go inside, it's kind of an overload drill. It prepares your body. Then you get inside, it's a little bit easier. Hopefully we'll see the effects Saturday night. But, you know, Orlando practices outside too now, so it's the same difference. But I don't know if they practice on turf. I think they practice on grass.
The big boys, did they get some rest for the legs like you had alluded to earlier?
Yeah, I've rested them up a little bit. You know, we did those different schedules this week. We practiced Monday, film on Tuesday, give them a day off. Practice Wednesday, practice tonight, then walkthroughs on Friday. So you got to try to manage their legs best we can. But I don't know if I'm managing it too right now because we're 0-2. So who knows? If this doesn't work, then I'll find something else.
Okay, folks, a reminder that we're talking Orlando Predators against the Lions, Saturday, May 4th, 7 o'clock, First Responders Night. Come early, 6 o'clock. Plenty of good seats available, but plenty of good seats sold, too.
Budweiser Party Zone, too. Tailgating. They got a great tailgating. Let's give a shout-out to the Lions tailgating group, which we don't run it. It's Hope Gilbert, it's John Gilbert, it's Pat Johnson. I don't want to leave anybody out, but those, you know, Hope Gilbert and Pat Johnson put so much into that group. They do such a great job. They feed the players once a week after practice, and they're starting to build that little party zone in there. So if you get a chance to get there early, and it's 6 o'clock, 5:30, get out there, go say hey to them. They got food out there and cornhole and just a great area.
Yeah, and I read about this kind of a menu blog that Pat.
It's really cool.
Come up
I mean, that's what makes Columbus so much fun. That's why I love this job, because of people like Pat and Hope and John that really have a passion for it. And care about people.
Tell you about some of the groups I've got coming, and then please speak to yours. We've got a nice 25 or so size group from the DOTD at Fort Benning. That's the Directorate of Training Doctrine. Kevin Parker's bringing a group out to honor retiring Colonel Kyle Fager. And we've also got Serve Pro of Phoenix City, Eufaula, and Tuskegee. They're coming out with in the group in the mid-20s, as is Cub Scout Pack 112 of Columbus.
Oh, wow.
And we're working towards getting the Chattahoochee Boy Scout Council out for a big night again. That'll probably be in late June or July. How about your groups for this week?
We've got Calvary Christian coming out, and we've got Aaron Cone Middle School coming out. So we've got 2 schools coming. It's a great opportunity. If you're interested in groups, you can always call the office, 706-322-3336. Ask for Rick Jacobson or myself or Terry Gore. Groups are a great time to come out and spend with your families. Church groups, school groups, athletic groups, and I think we do a group leader hat. And an autograph. We do a group leader hat and an autographed football that we'll we'll raffle off within your group. So some of your groups walking away with an autographed specialty football. So make sure you get a chance to get out there. Again, gates open at 6 o'clock Saturday night. Orlando Predators, down with the Predators, and we'll see you there.
I got 2 lovely young ladies by the names of Diamond Wimley and Alicia Honor that are going to come to each group section and make sure that autographed football is publicized properly. All those who give us their contact info are basically eligible for a drawing. And this white and blue paneled vinyl football is gorgeous, and it holds all the autographs.
So when you get it, you can come on the field after the game, get all your players' signatures and things like that. So get your groups today.
And if you don't happen to be the winner in your group of the autographed football, you sure can buy one, right, at merchandise?
Absolutely. You can buy anything you want.
At Alice's Restaurant. Anyway, folks, with that weird segue, we will break for commercials and back in just a moment.
At Rivertown Buick GMC, we're proud to support the Columbus Lions, our hometown team, and we support you with our low price promise. We'll meet or beat any dealership's price, or you get $1,000. Plus, Rivertown Buick GMC always has your back with the right way guarantee, featuring limited lifetime powertrain protection. And of course, we always give you a deal to roar about. Only at Rivertown Buick GMC.
USAA gives me the peace of mind and the security just like the Marines did. At one point I did change to a different company with car insurance and I was not happy with the customer service. We have switched back over and we feel like we're back home now. We're the Williams family and we're USAA members for life.
It's Love Your Car Month at Napa.
I love a good filter.
And whether you live under the hood,
horsepower,
or have never popped the hood,
door power,
your car deserves some love. That's why all month long we've got great deals for your vehicle. Because when it comes to caring for your car, all you need is Napa know-how.
Napa know-how.
We are back at Roar Time with head coach Jason Gibson of the Columbus Lions, Rick Jacobson, your host, and we're going to do a little bit of a wrap-up here before moving on and letting you get to your busy Wednesday morning. We want to tell the fans this, that we've got, of course, the Lions and Orlando Predators Saturday at 7 o'clock. Come early, 6 o'clock, Bud Light Party Zone.
Bud Light Party Zone, open 5:30. Go there, be there.
Yep, great time. It's a little early access for those who want to come and enjoy a longer evening with us. We will, next week's show, of course, resume coming off a bye week. We didn't have any game, but we will have the 5 awards we do weekly here. The Midas of Columbus, Player of the Game. The Sprague Supply, Napa Parts, Offensive Player of the Game, Air Force Reserve Defensive Player of the Game, Collision Surgeons of Columbus, Big Hit of the Game.
Big Hit of the Game.
Right, and of course, our favorite, All-State Sean McGarry, Good Hands Catch of the Game.
Go see Sean at All-State. He'll take care of you.
That's right. So we'll have, Coach picks those after reviewing film and experiencing the plays live. We should have replay capability of those at next week's show.
Yep, deal.
As we approach the end of the show, any final thoughts about the league and the importance of this week's
It's a really big game. This is the game, your back's against the wall, against a team that's struggling, you're at home, and you got to have a win. So it's a little pressure, but I have an old friend of mine who used to play in the NFL, pressure bust pipes. And so you're going to find out who can handle it, who can't, and then we're going to have to reevaluate from there. And hopefully we can get this win. Hopefully we'll see if DeAndre Brown can get on the field and make an impact at receiver. Defensively, I'd like to see a little bit more out of what we're already doing, but I feel good with our defensive backfield, our D-line, Uric Jones and J.T. Surratt, Greg Hall, Ken Washington, those guys. I kind of told the defense this week, I'm putting a lot of pressure on the defense. Right now, offensively, we're just not there. We're trying to figure out who we are. And I'm going to lean on the defense and just put it on their shoulders and say, just carry us until we can figure out what we've got. And so that's really the game plan this week. And, hey, cross your fingers.
We're so known for averaging probably 60 points a game most years and making sure we have the 50 for the Domino's 50-point frenzy. Do you feel like we're ready to score 50 and more? I
hope so, because we need that Domino's bread twist on Monday with your game tickets. But, yeah, I mean, this is going back to last year from the championship game to the playoff game, the last game against Maine. We're just struggling putting points on the board. So, we got to get off the snide a little bit and start rocking and rolling and put our foot on the gas. And if I can think of any more phrases, I'll use them.
I'll give you one here. I want to give props to a good longtime friend of ours, and you may not know this, but Richie Hester brought the Domino's pizza in last week, even though we didn't.
Yes, he did. Even when he still went and got it.
Yeah.
That's an annual Monday thing. Richie Hester brings Domino's to the office for the staff.
And Cinna Sticks, of course. And
Cinnabread.
Cinnabread now. That's right.
Cinnabread.
There's a little change, but that just goes to show that there's continuity and tradition with Lions football. We get back on the winning track this weekend and get our 50 points. And
hopefully 2 of those 50 points is a deuce, because if it is, you take your ticket to Popeyes and get a free apple pie. I don't care what anybody says. That is the best apple pies in Columbus. It really is.
Speaking of which, Blake Erickson had a pretty nice debut, didn't he?
He did. He hit a deuce. So, Blake, no pressure. You got to hit the deuce. If not, all the fans are going to be hitting you up on your Facebook, and I will give them your cell.
Tell us a little bit about Blake, because we didn't have him at the time we did last show. South Carolina State. Where's he from?
He's a kicker. That's all I need to know. You kick ball through uprights.
Okay, but he is an American. And
no. Blake's a good guy. Out of Tallahassee, played at South Carolina State, played some IFL, played with Mason. That's how I found him. Mason told me about him. So he's doing well, and let's see what happens Friday night. Saturday night. Wow, Saturday night. See how excited I am?
Is he a good positional kicker if you need that too? Is he versatile as well as pounding it deep if you need a corner of the end zone type kick?
Yeah, he can do it all. Just like a quarterback, you tell them to do it. They can't do it, we'll cut them and get another one.
There you go.
Rough business.
The life of a kicker in professional football.
Yep.
Well, folks, that'll do it for this edition of Roar Time. Thanks so much for joining us. We want to let everybody know that, generally speaking, not certain about this week yet, but Roar Time is followed on Thursday evenings by the telecast of the previous Lions game. And thanks, everybody, for watching. We'll see you at the Jungle Saturday, May 4th. Come as early as 5:30.